Hello everyone, I'm Professor Toybox. I've got Princess Jasmine with me, and today we're going to start building my Agrabah toy box that I showed you last time. First thing I'm going to do is put down my Jasmine's Palace View power disc on the Disney Infinity base, which will set the sky. And this is one of two customization power discs, of course, that comes with the Aladdin toy box pack. I've already taken the liberty of putting down a boombox from the Gameplay Toys drawer. So I'll go ahead and turn off the music. That way it won't be distracting and you'll be able to hear me a little better. There we go. So now that we have the sky dome, this is going to help me orient the toy box. The palace in the background is over there, and that means I want to build my palace here to kind of cover that up, which means that the city is going to go out over that way. And I'm going to build the palace first, because that'll determine where everything else goes. Here's a screenshot of the palace from the Aladdin movie. It's a little bit different than the one you see in the background of the Sky Dome, but it's pretty close. You can see that the main road through the city leads right up to the palace gate, so that's why I'm building the palace first. But before I do that, I need to add some terrain for the palace grounds. And so I'm going to drop down some terrain pieces, and I'm going to use these thinner ones. And I'm going to go ahead and not reuse the default one that starts with. I'm going to put down 3 of these. And then we'll put down another one over here. And if I can line it up with the front edge of that. And then one here. One over on this end, and then I'm going to take this half-size one and put this on the end. Oops, and we want this one here. So we're going to do 1, 2, and then 3 more. So there's our palace grounds, and again the palace will be out over that direction. Now you can stay with this green for the grass, which is the default, but actually I like the tri-state area terrain from the Phineas and Ferb toy box pack a little better, so I'm going to put that power disc down on my base, and I'm going to go ahead and switch to that terrain, and that will set the entire set of terrain to that. And I think that looks a little bit better. It's just my personal preference. And then I also need 1 sand texture, so I'm going to put the Sands of Time power disc down from the Aladdin toy box pack. And this time I do not want to switch my entire world to that theme. I only want to do 1 block. And that's going to be this one right here on the front, with the palace facing that way in the background. So here I'm going to set Sands of Agrabah. These 2 I'm going to leave as grass. And these 3 that I put down, we're going to set this to be the desert landscape. And this will be the foundation for the patio in the gardens area, which is, of course, behind the palace. And 1 more. Like that. Now we'll build the palace itself. You can find these pieces in Building Sets Group 6. It isn't necessarily easy to see how to put these together, so hopefully this will help. There are, of course, multiple ways to combine these pieces, but this is what I did. And we'll start with the palace gate. I'm going to line this up so that the wall is right on the front edge of that, and by default it's kind of centered over the middle here, so that's perfect. We'll put it right like that. And for the ramp going up to the palace gate, I'm going to drop this right here on the edge of the sand, just like this. It's 1 block shy of the back end of that, but that's okay. Palace base goes right behind that. So we'll line it up just like so. And I'm going to flip this around and put another one down right behind it, which, as you can see, overlaps that little piece of terrain. So that hole that we left is covered by the base, which is really good. And then the palace front, you could do it right here lined up with the edge of that. But I'm actually going to slide mine a half a block forward just because I need a little bit of extra room on the back end. So now we have that. And the next piece I'm going to place is the big tower that's at the very top. And I want to sit this here and right on the back edge of this, like so. On the back edge of the top of that tower, which needs to sit actually on it. There we go. And it's important you put this one down first, because if you put the terrain piece that goes under it first, it's not going to work. So now I'm going to come down here and place this, and it needs to go on the base. There we go. And I want to put this like that. So I'm going to do 2 of them on this side and 2 of them over on this side. And don't worry about that little gap there. I'll plug that in a few minutes. The curved piece, we're going to put this on the end, kind of centered like that. And you can see it hangs off the back edge of this a little bit. Personally, I can live with that. I couldn't live with it sticking another half a block off of the edge of that. And I could push this piece a little more forward, but I actually want to use the front edge of this to get around the perimeter of this thing, because we're going to add some wings over here on the side. We'll do that next. So this we're going to line up right about like that. And I'm going to put 2 of them here like so, with a curve. And then another 2. And so we kind of got a little porch area on either side of the main palace base here. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. And again, don't worry about the hole in the middle. We'll plug that in just a moment. Okay, so there's the base of the palace. And that's starting to take shape. Looks pretty good. Now, we're going to scroll over to, and it might have been quicker to go the other way. We're going to go over to the Cinderella's castle pieces, because I don't have a floor that will sit flush with that. So I'm actually going to use these pieces here. And it'll be a little bit noticeable, but it's not going to be too bad. We're going to plug the gaps with these. We'll do the same thing on this side. Kind of wish we had a flat porch piece that didn't have a railing, but got to work with what you have. And then I'm going to put one of these right underneath here to seal that little gap. And the same thing on the back end. Just like that. Okay. And even though it's a little bit different, you have the palace view in the background there, which can kind of help you figure out how to connect all these pieces together. Now, let's go ahead and get back over to the Aladdin pieces in that drawer. I'll pick that up and put it down. That gets us over here. And I'm going to put the small tower here right on the edge of this as close as I can to that. And so about like that should work. maybe a little bit forward. We'll put one on the other side. The next size up, we're going to put down a couple more here. And I'm going to put this one on the back end of this. And I want to put it about like that. I'm going to hang off a little bit more to the right there. And off of the back of this, we're going to put it off just over the edge, a little bit closer if I can get it. There, about like that. I'm going to put one on the other side in the same relative position. If I can get it to move half a block to the right, that's pretty good. And then we'll put one more right about here. And I'm going to move it right up to the edge of the... Yeah, put it about like that. I don't want to crowd the middle section there too much. That's pretty good. Okay, and then the next largest one, we're going to set out off on the side. And now I want to make sure I leave enough room here for the wall that's going to go around the palace. So I got to put this as close as I can, which isn't real close, is it? The bounding box isn't letting us go too much closer, so that I think will have to do. And I want to put the front edge about right where the edge of that, the left edge, right where the front edge of the palace base is. So about there. We'll slide over and do the exact same thing on this side. Just like that. And then on the front, over here on this end, you can see from the picture there's a couple of little towers along the front. So we're going to put the small one right about here, covering up that seam a little bit. And it doesn't need to go too close to the palace. And then the next largest one, we'll put it over here, roughly like that. And it doesn't exactly matter where it goes because it doesn't connect to anything. And there we are. Not too bad. Now for the wall, we'll come over here to the edge of the gate, and there's a little lip that's on one side of it. I want that to be on the outer edge of the wall. So I'm going to put two of these down, and then one of these little lookouts. And one more, and you'll notice it comes right to the edge, and we don't really have a corner piece that we can use for this. But I have an idea for that, so we'll go ahead and leave a gap there for that, and we'll come back to that in a minute. And then we're going to run this all the way around to the back side of the property. And now you'll notice this last piece sticks off the end. So I'm actually going to leave a little bit of a lip there on the back end of this. And then we'll run this all the way down to the other end. And we'll run this wall here along that far end as well. And then over on this side on the front, we'll mirror what we did on the other side. So we put two of these down. And then one of the lookouts. Two more of these, and the corner. And you can run that down yourself as you're building this on your own toy box if you feel inclined to do so. So we're looking pretty good, but we got to do something with this gap. So let's come down to the blocks drawer, and we're going to use this tall block, and I'm going to put this on the corner. And for the style of this block, that reset the drawer on me. Sorry, I'll have to scroll down. But if we go to the right a ways, we get down near where the water is. There's a couple of Agrabah textures. So we have the Bazaar stucco and we have the Palace stucco. I'm going to set that to be my theme, the Palace stucco. And then on each of the corners, we can put 2 blocks high. And I'll do that on every corner. And then for a little decoration on top, we have this little onion dome. We can stick that up there like that. And because the domes on the palace are red, we'll use something red here too. So if we scroll back to the left, about the closest thing I found is this swirly texture. It's not perfect, but it's about the right shade, and it's about the right shape. So that works pretty well. And again, you do that on all 4 corners. And just a couple of other little details here. On the back edge of this, I want to put a pipe climb so the player can get up to the top. So if we come up to the platforming toys drawer and go left, you'll get to the pipe climbs. And I know they didn't have drain pipes in Agrabah, but that works. And I'm going to go ahead and style that. And we'll use the gray color. I'll set that to be the theme. Now, 2 of those on top of each other will get you up to the top. And that little gap in the railing will allow you to get up there. So there's the palace. We still need to build the gardens out back, but I'm going to save that for next time. I want to try to keep my videos a little bit shorter from now on if I can. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed my video today, or at least found it helpful. I know some people struggle with the castle pieces because it isn't always obvious how to assemble them, so I wanted to make sure I did a video to show that. Before I sign off, I want to thank all of my subscribers and followers for your comments and support. I know there's plenty of other things you could be watching, so I appreciate you spending a little of your time with me. If you like Disney Infinity and you're not a subscriber yet, just click my photo in the lower right corner of this video or the follow button on my blog, and while you do that, I'm going to go start working on my next video for you. So I'll see you later.